this whole entire team's UPTs were up this month. Has anybody congratulated them for that? Those are things that we overlook because we're so focused on the things that we can't quite get right. And I hate that, and that is a struggle. And that does cause that extra stress and nonsense that I feel like causes us to go into that burnout and unmotivational side of the business and it's a struggle.
Boutique hustle.
Hello, everyone. I'm Sonia.
And I am Hanna, and this is the Boutique Hustle Unzipped. How are you today, Sonia?
I'm good. I was going to say, you look awesome. I love this Western chic thing you got going on.
Well, thank you. I got my little hat on today.
I love it.
I love it.
Ken doesn't. I was going to say, Ken doesn't love when I wear hats.
Stop it.
I swear.
Oh my gosh. That is hysterical. I have to cover up the hair at times, and I love a good hat. So if Jared told me he didn't like a hat, he would just have to suck it.
I've tried it, and I'll walk out of my room and he's like, are you wearing a costume? And I'm like, you are such a jerk.
At times I do feel like I'm dressing up in costume in this fashion world. Yeah. Sometimes I'm like, when is it ever enough? Or
I think you look fabulous.
Add more. Thank you.
Yes. More. More
is more. Less is more.
It's all more.
It's all more. Whatever makes you feel good, girl. You just do you. You do you.
That's right. Everyone has their own personal style, and I love yours. I think you're pulling that off just great.
Well, thanks. I love your style too.
I'm pretty simple, don't you think?
Yeah, but very chic and edgy with always, right on trend with the best new designer accessories.
I try. Anyway, so let's get into today's episode, which is
let's do it.
How to avoid boutique owner burnout. Have you ever felt completely exhausted and you just can't stop? You just go.
Every day.
You must.
Every day. Every day.
So,
and I know that is so relatable in our industry and probably a lot of industries. I'm not saying it doesn't affect lots of different people in different ways. I think
of course.
We keep talking about this, I feel like week to week, but it's just, we live in a very chaotic, fast time of life right now. And I think when you're a business owner, you can just really spiral out of control. And it does lead to that boutique burnout or, burnout in general. This is speaking to all people. I've experienced it. Sometimes when I feel like I got it all figured out, it's like the next week throws lots of things at me, which would be this week. So this is a great topic for me to talk on because I am starting to feel those signs coming back around that I experienced in 2024. 2024 was a hard year for me because I was definitely in a burnout phase. So great topic.
The whole year?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Or did it feel like the whole year?
It felt like 5 years, but yeah, I would say the whole year. I mean, obviously it came in waves, where it felt like really extreme. And then I felt like I was kind of getting out of it. This year has slowly kind of made a turn. And then I'm not even joking. It doesn't take much for things to just stop you in your tracks and you kind of feel like you're headed back in that same direction. Which has happened this week for me. So I'm sure that's how a lot of people feel. I feel like this week has been so chaotic with worldly events too, we're currently having the hurricane down here. And so Jamaica has sending prayers to Jamaica because I know the aftermath is going to be so insane.
Awful.
And then also this week, Sonia, there's a lab down here with lab monkeys. And
what?
They were in a truck being carried.
What?
And they had a wreck. And these lab monkeys went wild. I'm not making this up. This actually happened in Mississippi. So the hurricane is happening. These monkeys are on the loose. They are infected with COVID, hepatitis C, and herpes. So it's like Planet of the Apes.
Sorry, guys. I'm not laughing at it. I'm just the way you're presenting it. And I haven't heard, and I try to keep up with news.
Yeah,
but no, we haven't heard about the monkeys.
I have gotten word because this was a concern of me on mine on Monday, and one of my business partners called and said, "Hannah, I just want you to know they have caught all the monkeys." And I was like, "Are you
You can
sure? Are
sleep
you sure
now,
there's not one missing?"
and it's in your backyard.
It's in our backyard. So, yeah, it just seems like everything has
Oh
been,
my
like, really
god.
crazy, wild, like, extreme, and even in the place of business, that's why I laugh about it because I don't laugh about the hurricane because that's very tragic and catastrophic, but,
Oh my god, yeah.
whenever I'm thinking about my day and, you get stressed and you just feel this overwhelm and heaviness, and then you actually think about what's actually happening in the world, then it doesn't seem so bad. Because at the end of the day, we're here to sell clothes and make women feel beautiful. So, but that is the funny part about retail, right? It looks so beautiful and glamorous on the outside, but what it takes to make everything tick it's a lot. It's a lot.
Oh, uh, again, I'm sure I've mentioned this before, but so many of my friends think that what I do is so cool, and it's like, you have no idea. Like, yesterday was 93, 5 outside. We're at the end of October.
Wow.
Today's 90, and I'm just sweating and, running around and doing what I have to do, and, your feet hurt, you're just feeling icky, and your hands are gross from, like, touching 4,000,000 hangers. Um,
Right?
I love what I do, don't get me wrong, but it's not as glamorous as you say.
Absolutely. What does burnout look like on your side of the industry with what you do?
Um, I would say burnout. Well, I was first of all, I was gonna say, when you mentioned that and talking about hats, burnout, and I feel that happens to me is when I try to do too much, when I'm trying to wear every hat for
Yeah.
everyone at every time,
Sure.
just because I can. I just gotta get it done, so just get in there and just do it. And that's usually not the best approach. You gotta delegate and let people do what they're supposed to do and hold them accountable. Burnout for me, so it's hard to explain to some people what I do because it's if you're not in this industry, you don't understand. But or if you've never been downtown to the wholesale showrooms, you probably I guess it kind of looks like market, but way worse because it's like you're shopping at an outdoor mall.
Mhm.
It's about
It's the grind.
four
It's the
square
grind.
miles. If Yeah, not 4 square miles, 4 square blocks. And that's just the walking area. Then I get in my car and go do shoes at, 40 minutes away. And then I do vendors, one town over, two towns over. But gosh, it's sometimes I have these weeks where I have these highs and I'm just like go, 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 because I'm on a mission. I have a lot of things to check off of my list. And I like to get things done and done because the next thing's coming at me. However, there are weeks where it's not as crazy and I'm always searching for what's new samples, new um, what's out, what's coming, what came in. And sometimes it's just a lot of the same and it
Mhm.
gets really boring. That's the only way I can put it. It just gets boring and that energy kind of goes down because you're not excited about what I'm not excited about what I'm finding.
Right.
It feels like everyone's just dry and doesn't have anything good or fresh.
Or
And
new,
you
yeah.
walk in and everything's like a recut and blah, blah, blah. So then it's when I start to feel, my
It's almost like
exhaustion, my burnout, because I'm having time to think
yeah, and you're a
and feel.
creator too, so, like, it's almost
Mhm.
like a creative fatigue where there's
Mhm.
nothing new, nothing fresh. I mean, that happens whenever you're have that creative mindset. So,
Right.
I'm sure that you probably struggle with that as well.
Right. And it's hard because I'm trying to put outfits together sometimes for people and it's like I might find a ton of tops and no one has any good bottoms or vice
Right,
versa or
right.
just it could be so many different things. And I'm sure for you and boutique owners, they must feel so much of the same. I I
Yes.
could imagine that at times you get a shipment in and you have a rack of a certain type of style that's been sitting for a week or two and then you open a box and you're like, oops, I forgot I ordered this too. And you're just like, you feel defeated. You're just like, ugh,
Yep,
and you
there
start
she
to
goes
question
again.
everything. Yeah. You start to question everything and then you get on Instagram and somebody's like, "Oh, got this cute top sold out in one day." And you're just like, and here I am stuck with, 18 of these types of tops or whatever. So it's important to stay focused and also give yourself permission to take a day off, take a break,
Yeah, which is
um,
hard.
walk away. There's times I work from home because it allows me, one, to give the vendors time to kind of do and refresh whatever's happening out here. And I get to catch up on a lot of paperwork. And so that always helps me. Um, with that said, sometimes if, let's say, I go away, like October was a big travel month for me, getting back into the groove is hard.
Always, always.
So yeah, it's the burnout and then the getting back, back on the train and getting those wheels turning again. It's tough.
Absolutely. It is.
What does
I
it
know
look
when you
like for
say
you?
I think, definitely as a business owner, wearing all the hats and, over the years, we've tried to, like, streamline our positions because we have a 5 locations at e-commerce store, but we do have my mom, my Aunt Cindy, myself, I have Claire, who we now have as our OO, and and my sister, we have Bethany. We have leaders who sit at the top.
Mhm,
And some people are like, "Well, you have help." And I'm like, "Yeah, but we have this girl here and this girl here." So we've tried to really streamline everybody's position. So my position I sit in is a CEO and a CFO. So, that's overlooking the company, looking at everything from a bird's eye view, making sure each location is hitting their numbers. I'm taking care of all the finances, dealing with vendors and shipments and managing our finances, trying to think what's next for us, what's our next big plan, what's our I'm always thinking about what's a growth strategy for us. And that's where I like to sit. And whenever I can sit there in my zone of genius, a lot of things are able to tick and move forward. But what happens is, and I think that this is when I start feeling the overwhelm and the exhaustion and that true burnout feeling where I feel like I can't even breathe because I'm suffocating,
mhm,
is when I'm back in doing the day to day, from all the buying, the styling of photo shoots, being the model of the photo shoot because we're the brand behind the brand,
mhm,
even getting dirty with helping assist in customer service emails to make sure that our customers are being communicated properly. Then you have merchandising. We're re-merchandising stores. Then even right now I'm having to step in as a leader in one of our locations because of movement of team members. And so now, like this afternoon, I go in and I am now managing the floor. So I go from, sitting in one position that now I'm going in to have to completely change tune. I'm going in to be a manager at one of my stores this afternoon. And that looks different. And then my head's going to be going, okay, I have to communicate with this vendor. We need this to be shipped out. It's 10:31 tomorrow. We have POs to close out. We have, holiday to prepare. Our launch is happening on Sunday. I haven't communicated with the social media team. We're closing one Instagram account, merging to another Instagram account. And right now I've got to be like, hey, welcome into Herringstones. What are you looking for today? And dress in, the next lovely customers who come in the front door. So I think whenever I start wearing too many hats is when I start seeing myself crumbling. And the aftermath of that is not good. And from experience, because I did have back to 2024, had 2 breakdowns 6 months apart that I've never experienced before,
like
and someone
physical or mental or both
like
or all?
mental breakdowns that really caused me some distress. And for me, it was kind of shocking because I'm not the type of personality who gets into that place. But I think just like trying to balance being mom, wife, business owner, business partner, I always feel that I'm leaned on. Like everybody comes to me for the phone calls. Everybody's coming to me to burn out the fires that I didn't have on my schedule that day. And those
Mhm,
fires take minutes to hours of your time during that day that then you're not able to check off the to-do list for the job that I actually need to perform. And
mhm,
then it puts other people in the waiting room. And I think whenever I lay my head down at night feeling like I never really completed anything today, I don't feel like I did a great job at momming 100% or wifing, or I left everybody hanging. I didn't complete anything. I didn't give anything 100% because I had to give so many things 15%, right? That then you lay down and you are so exhausted, and then you feel like you accomplished nothing that day. And so the next day you feel like you have to start completely over. And then it's a vicious cycle because you really never, ever, ever get caught up to when you hit a wall that you're like, okay, I can't function. Like, something's
Right.
got to give. Something's got to give. And so then, you go back to the playing board, and this is what I've done this year is I've really gone back to the playing board. I've tried to really, really focus on top leaderships in our stores. And this is a working um, this is a work in progress. We talked about hiring and firing just recently, and this kind of goes into that bullet point is trying to find your team A players who support you, your business, what your beliefs are, what your vision is. I'm still
Right.
working on that because if I can get that to be a solid foundation, then I think I can really start making moves in some of my what my vision is and get out of the doing, the daily doing. Um,
Yep. I was gonna say before you mentioned momming and wifing that all those things you mentioned that feels like a burnout and you're doing this and that, that's assuming everything in your personal life is going well.
yeah, right.
That like if you add that into the mix, then you feel like you're crashing out. And
Yes, and
so,
that I think last year too, in the year of 2024, the burnout feeling, and then we had deaths in our family that were back to back to back.
mhm,
So, like, and when it was actually a year today that I lost my grandfather, and yesterday
mhm.
I tragically lost my aunt, and then 3 months after
Oh,
that, we lost my grandmother. So it was just like a lots of heaviness, on top of business. You're right, like, when the personal hits your daily, it all is like this perfect storm that just is a lot, and I know that everybody feels those burdens and heaviness in the world and the day to day, and
right.
I think that's the biggest thing that we're here to talk about is, like, burnout is real. You
It's
have to
real, but
catch it.
yes, it shows up in different forms. And you have to understand,
Yeah,
that burnout is not bad. It's just knowing how to manage it
yeah,
and understanding what's causing it, and then allowing yourself the time, the grace to step away for a minute,
yep,
breathe a little bit. Like
breathe, and then
nothing the
think
boutique's gonna be there
about
tomorrow.
correct. And then I think for me, it's like really thinking about, okay, I cannot physically do all the things that I say yes to. So then it's learning what to say no to and then setting
So,
boundaries.
okay. So I was gonna say, so what do you do
So and though
instead?
I'm still working on this cuz like I said, don't have it all down. But if you can really think back, okay, is my time worth what I'm saying yes to? Or is my time worth saying yes to this other thing? Because I can't say yes to both because then I'm only giving half of my energy here and the other half here. And that can be in
Mhm,
all different situations. For instance, yesterday I could have said yes to you, like, let's do our podcast on Wednesday. But instead, I said yes to another place that I thought I needed to put my time when really I wasted my time there thinking that's where I needed to do my time because I felt like I needed to step in for someone else who wasn't giving me what I needed them to give me. And now I could have put time here today to go help one of my other locations re-merchandise before I go and to do my next thing. So it's like really trying to figure out what is the most valuable of my time to give where I'm saying yes to and not saying yes to everything and really being mindful of what those things are. And then setting your time in the day. Like, at what point am I starting my work day with my brain? And at what time if I'm cutting it off? Because as business owners, we do this 24/7. We don't put our
yep,
phones down. We are a constant
mhm,
state of scrolling, whether it's in dinner time or at a ball game when you're supposed to be watching your son play football, when you're supposed to be having a conversation with your husband that you haven't seen in 2 weeks. This is me. I'm just constantly working, working, working. He's like, "Can you ever get off your phone?" And then it puts stress into your marriage, or other relationships because that's all we do is are on your phones, whether it's emails, Slacks, group me's, text messages, phone calls, voicemails, Shopify, Heartland point of sales. What store's doing this? What's the margins? What have we received today? How much more budgets do we have? All the 5 different bank accounts that have other bank accounts. It's just a lot. It
yeah.
makes you want to go crazy.
Well, and I
So,
think a lot of it is self-imposed, like you said.
yeah,
You chose to do A versus B. Nice to know I took a back seat to somebody, but no, just kidding.
I
But
squeezed
yeah,
you
like
in.
when I texted you yesterday, you were like, "Soccer, something, something. I'll get back to you. I don't know." So
Yeah, that was 2
I,
days ago. Yeah.
my
Yeah.
kids are grown, married, whatever.
No, that was
So
last night, yeah.
that's I don't live that life anymore, but I remember it. And,
Yeah, right.
um
Yeah, because when the workday is over, now your family needs you. They need your time, your
Mhm,
energy, your attention, and that is so, so, so hard. It is so hard. That is one of my biggest flaws and struggles as a business owner is knowing when to cut that. And I think that the burnout comes when I feel like I have nothing else to give. Like I feel like I have just drained every ounce of my energies to all my employees, my team members, my business partners, my husband, my kids, and then I have given myself nothing. I've given myself no time, no grace, not taking
mhm,
care of myself, not feeding myself the right vitamins, food, Pilates, like all those things. When I start taking all these things and routines out of my daily life is when I really start spiraling and start struggling inside. And then what happens is once you thought it was a bad, now everybody around you seeing you struggle, and then now they're starting to be like, "Okay, something's
well,
wrong.
they're feeding
Something
off
is
of
not right."
you.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
So,
exactly, yeah,
I would say that a sign that I feel like uh, edit. I would say that a sign I notice sorry, edit. So one of the things I notice when I'm kind of in that burnout phase is I start to become irritable. Everyone
mm,
irritates me. I'm and then short with my employees,
right,
never with the vendors because I know I never want to bite the hand that feeds me.
yeah,
But I'm vendors notice when I'm quiet. I'm not mean, irritable with them, but I'm just quiet. I just need my time. Um, and so you gotta I guess the key would be to for us, anyone, catch yourself before you get to that point. Um, one thing I feel helps me is to my husband's gonna be like, by the way, my husband edits, so he gets to find out a lot about me. Um, I like to work in my car sometimes. I will go get breakfast and I will sit in my car. I will get on my phone and I'll start catching up with my WhatsApps, my emails, my calls, my whatever. And so I create some breathing room.
yeah, yeah,
It's just my car is like such a
your
safe,
sanity.
sane place for me.
Yeah,
I've sat in my car as long as 5 hours working and enjoy every minute of it.
every minute.
Um,
See, I love to go I can get so much done if it's like, business stuff, like my emails and all the back end work. I can go sit at a restaurant, but, like, after lunchtime, like, there's this restaurant right by one of my locations, and it's right by my bus stop, and
Mhm.
if you give me 1 hour in there, I can knock out some stuff. I just like to sit there in my zone. I order a little appetizer, and I can get so much stuff done, but it's like I think I like ambiance. Like, I like outside of the office where I don't feel like I'm at work, but my brain just can really focus when you take me outside of my business place, outside of my home life, and I just kinda can escape, and then I can
Airports are a
really
good place for me as well.
ooh, airports are
Airport
good, or
lounges
those
are great.
yes, I can get some stuff done
Yeah.
up in there, but then I'm drinking.
Yeah. That's
I
probably
do,
why
I
it's
can get
fun.
some stuff done there because 'cause you're stuck. It's like, what else am I gonna do?
Yeah.
Just sit here and
Right.
get stuff done. Yeah.
And everyone else is on their laptop. You're like, I gotta look smart and be on my laptop too.
No, but I do think it is finding, like, what works for you, and that's what I'm discovering about myself is, like, I think that the everyday grind wears me out, and so if I can plug in little interceptions throughout my day that is, like, for me and I'm still working, but it's like makes me happy whether it's sit outside or go grab a bite to eat. Those things help me get through my days to where I feel like I'm kind of creating more of a balance within myself. And then knowing when to cut things off at the end of the day too is a huge boundary that sometimes I can get it right and everybody's happy. Most of the time I don't. I'm
So
sitting
why don't
still.
you here's a challenge. Why don't you schedule a lunch date with yourself once a week
I think that's a great idea, Sonia.
for for kind of like date night. Have a date
Yeah,
with yourself
I love that
at your little
for me.
restaurant and make it a like it's a non-negotiable.
Yeah.
Once a week, at this time, you're off the grid. Like,
Right.
in the sense of, unless you're reaching out to your employees, I am not available from here to here. Unless you hear from me, I don't exist for this hour
Right.
or however long you're doing your thing,
I
and
like this
see
plan.
if that might create some breathing room for you, for one.
And some
And two, if you do
synergy,
it
you
enough,
know?
yeah, just balance things off. So, like I said, it's catching it before it gets to the point where you just are crashing
Yeah.
out. And then if you do it enough, it now becomes a habit. You're like, nope, I can't.
Yeah.
I am booked.
That's it.
Pretend your nail lady is leaving town for a month and you need your nails done. And that is the only time you can get in.
This is it, and
You
I
know
make it
you
happen.
will drop the world to be there. So if
I
you can
love
do
that.
that for your nail lady, then do it for yourself.
No, I agree with you on there. Another thing I was just thinking about too is that creates some overwhelm for me is thinking too far out. I think, I'm a visionary, so I think that one of my struggles is that my brain goes so far of my wants and desires and my manifestations are just so out there that when I start thinking about even, like, over the next 2 months, it's like I see no end in sight, and then that creates overwhelm for me. And
Well,
whenever I
because
can
there
really
in reality, there isn't. Like, there is no end in sight. You
No,
gotta
you're right.
manage that in your head. Like, it's
In
just never gonna
the
end.
day
It's
to
just like
day.
you'll it's always
Right.
gonna be coming at you. It's like we said, it's
Yeah.
like playing whack-a-mole. And
Yeah.
so
And so that is one of the things I have really tried to practice, this past year in my recovery year, is one thing I do often do is just say, I'm a big believer in faith, so I'll literally just, like, look 'em and say, "This I'm surrendering my day to you, let it unfold how you wish." That has really helped me. And also instead of trying to get too far ahead in my thoughts, making my plan and then breaking it down and then really just following my day by day. I do feel like things kind of unfold better that way and because it doesn't put all the extra stress on I should have done that. I needed to have done that. This didn't happen. You know what I'm saying?
so I
Um
find what you just said, and I love that you fall to that, and you give your day, like you said, whatever happens, happens. But to me, that's the equivalent of giving yourself permission to let the cards fall where they fall, and then
yeah,
you pick them up as you go along. So I think what you're doing is you're using it's like yourself there, giving yourself therapy. It's like it's in your hands. Let whatever happens, happens. But you're
right.
basically having that conversation with yourself. You're saying,
Yeah.
I'm just going to go with the flow today. I'm just going to, whatever
See how
happens,
it's
it is what it is.
and I'm there with my fire hydrant. That's how I feel sometimes. Like,
That's,
sometimes I just need a
yeah.
fire truck and a whole red suit with a fire hydrant. "Okay, I'm ready."
Who's going to get in my way?
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
well, and also I was going to say that part of getting to that point where you're going to crash out or burn out or however you want to call it is I think you miss the wins that are happening around you, the
Good.
successes.
Yeah, you're right.
You're so caught up in, everything that's coming at you that you don't see what's actually the good that's happening around you. You could have had a
You're
great
so
day,
right.
sales day. You could have, you know, I don't know, it so many things. Your employee went above and beyond, you didn't even notice.
Right. No, you're not wrong in that, and I think that that is one of our struggles even as a family business that we struggle with. I can speak for several of us. We've talked about that we are so in the motion of what's next that we didn't even get to celebrate the accomplishments. And there are accomplishments.
All
There's
the
a
time,
ton of them.
sure.
But you don't even see those because you're so busy looking at the things that you didn't do right or that you didn't quite get or the campaigns that didn't quite work for you. Or it's like it's just always so there's always something else that is taking up the space of that didn't work, that you spent too much money here, that we didn't make enough money there, that you don't even look at the things that you've trained your team to do. Wow, this whole entire team's UPTs were up this month. Has
Mhm.
anybody congratulated them for that? Those are things that we overlook because we're so focused on the things that we can't quite get right. And I hate that, and that is a struggle. And that does cause that extra stress and nonsense that um, I feel like causes us to go into that burnout and unmotivational side of the business that
Right.
it's a struggle. It
And
really
it's
is.
again, I don't have little ones, but you do, and it's finding the balance. I think, like you said, we both work. Basically, I can work in my sleep. I'm up in the middle of the night sometimes sending
Yeah.
WhatsApps because I'm hoping no one checks their phone at 2 or 3 in the morning.
Mhm.
Um, but giving yourself a window, I'm gonna work from here to here, and unless it's an emergency, I'm not
Yeah.
available.
That's right.
Because nothing's gonna change, and also that that energy that's created when you're in that, frustrated, irritable, burnout mode, it flows to your employees,
It
and
does.
and
And
then
and to your
you kill their
and in
spirit.
your house. In your
Oh,
house too,
yeah.
that's right. Yeah, it's
Mhm,
all about the culture, that you create as well, and
mhm.
that does, it flows into your household as well. So I have seen a difference in this past year with, how I feel and my motivation. I feel like I'm kinda getting back into a place where, like, I'm ready for what's next. I'm ready for some changes. I think for me, I require things that are new. I require, things that keep my brain ticking. I don't like mindless conversations or feeling like I'm doing mindless work in things that I get caught up in, and so I think I'm in a good direction. I still struggle with setting my boundaries consistently. I think that, I'll start and then it kind of gets inconsistent. So I do encourage people like to decide what is taking up your time and where can you set some boundaries for yourself and for your families. I think that that is super important. But when you feel like you are carrying everything and then too much time passes, that is when you literally do crash and burn. Another thing that I just um, thought about, and we'll kind of start wrapping some things up, is communicating with vendors is a huge stress for me too, especially the pressures of having to get merchandise shipped. And then my emails are just like stacked. And then the phone calls start coming in, and you have to have this shit by 10:31. And I'm like, I don't have any more money. Like, that is a huge burden for me. The financial stress, because we have budgets. And so, like, and then I budget things based off what's selling, which I can't really always control what has sold through
Mhm.
or what hasn't or what we're missing or this or that. And what I've told myself is this is my business. I have to run it for what works for us, and the vendors have to wait. But like just yesterday, I get a text message from a vendor that's like, if you do not take these, your account will be closed. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't need these shoes. These shoes aren't
Obviously,
selling.
I wasn't involved in that order, right?
No, you're not. You're not. You're clear. You're in the clear. It's not y'all are easy to work with, but,
Mhm.
that's why I like working with y'all, but, they're like, "If you do not take these shoes, we will close your account," and I'm like, "Okay, A, that's a
You're like, "Oh."
threat.
Yeah.
B, like, I know how they're performing because 'cause I'm watching them unperform in a location, so I've already tested this product. It doesn't work for us. So, why would I go and get the same shoe in 3 different colors that's a 1031? Like, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna put my money there. I'm not gonna put my dollars, and if losing the line is what I have to do, well, that's a decision that I'm gonna have to make by tomorrow. But that's put so much, like, stress on me, and it's like another burden, it's like
Mhm,
another
mhm.
thing that just makes me feel heavy and anxiety, and it aggravates me, and I could be putting my time and my energy into something that's gonna actually generate dollars or encourage people, or I like to be a leader to my team, but instead I'm over here in my head going, "Why am I having this conversation with this vendor that I've done business with for 15 years?"
So
Like
I'm gonna give you some advice on that, and
yeah, I would
it's
love
easier
that
said
advice.
it's easier said than done. You should be keeping track of your pre-orders and their ETAs. If you
We do.
know something is not performing and you have, like you said, it coming in 3 more colors, you initiate that phone call and say, "Hey, I am so sorry. Based on this, I think I'm gonna have to either cancel this order or postpone it or whatever so that it's not somebody hounding you. You just went in, fixed it, dealt with it, it's over. And that's
Yeah,
one less thing to get frustrated and just stressed over. Because
right.
the vendors are like bill collectors, basically. It's like, we
I
have your
know.
merchandise ready. We need payment. We need payment. Credit
Right,
card decline. We need payment. We need to ship this.
right.
Da, 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 da. And you're just like, do I answer? Do I answer? Like, you know,
I know. Well, and then you're in the middle of burning fire. So you're like, "Okay, I can't
Right.
get to you right now." And one thing I have done though, when I speak of shipments, is I have tried to delegate my week where, like, okay, on Mondays, I'm communicating with vendors. On Fridays, I try to wrap it up unless I'm pulled somewhere else. And then I pick back up on Mondays because typically all of our deposits land on a Monday. So that's when I can really make good decisions on where my dollars are going. Is it a payroll week? Typically, we have a big payroll. So, like, payroll weeks is not typically my big shipment weeks. I'll still release orders, but that's not going to be a heavy release week for me. I call that a bill week, you know. So, and then
Mhm.
the next week is more of a receiving week for me. So, like, I try to organize things. My vendors don't know that that's how I organize my week, so they're thinking it's like silent for a whole week. But I cannot physically, unless that's all I did all day long, I cannot physically communicate with all of these vendors, and I
So
cannot
another point
physically ship things every day.
exactly. So another pointer, and it's something I do, which is why people love working with me because I deal with all of that. You don't have to worry any of that. I am your shield from everyone. Um,
Mhm, mhm.
is create an email, like a template, and every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks, send it to all the active vendors you have and say, "Hey, what do you have ready? What do you have shipping for me in the next 2 weeks?" And then you're prepared.
Right.
So you can make any adjustments ahead of time. Because one thing that is not fair, and we're going so off topic right now, but
Yes, we are.
um, it's gonna, and that's a whole nother topic, is it's not fair to the vendor when you wait till the last minute to cancel that order or say you don't
Yeah,
need it. You know, they cut based on the amount of orders they received, and you're like, "Oh, you're just one pack or whatever." They put a lot of work into that. Somebody entered that order. Somebody, took those samples to market. Somebody
sure.
processed it. Sometimes it's already packed. So at that point, they're now losing money. So to be fair, everyone involved is get ahead of those things so that nothing's a surprise. Because sometimes it's a 10:30, but it's really an 11:08, 11:15, or
Right.
it's a
That's another
10:12,
point.
not a
So let's
10:30.
do this. Let's make this a whole episode because
Mhm.
I would love advice from you, and I think other people who sit in my, place would. Because I was actually reading, something the other day on a little poll, and so many business owners were having the same conversation that they were frustrated and it was affecting their cash flows. So let's do a whole episode on this because I think this would be a really great conversation between your side and my side. And we could pick that up
Mhm.
next week because that would be fun
Yeah,
and
let's
very
do it.
informative headed into the holidays.
Yes, yes. And into a new season period,
Yeah.
which is gonna be, thankfully, the longest season in retail, which is spring, summer. And so, yeah, that could be fun.
Yeah, that would be. Okay, ladies.
I'm gonna give
So,
away a
and
lot of my
gentlemen,
secrets.
I know, I know. Well, I kind of need some of your secrets, and so do other people. So you're gonna have to decide which ones you're gonna share.
True.
Today was a little bit more vulnerable. Today, talking about burnout, and our experiences there. I could probably talk about that even more because there's definitely some deeper scenarios there that I could go into. But basically, you can't pour into your business from an empty cup, and your
Right.
boutique deserves your best self. So
Mhm.
you gotta give it your all, and you gotta figure out what allows you to win so that everybody else around you can win as well. So, taking it here, obviously don't have it all figured out, have been through it, going through
Mhm.
it this week. Hopefully next time I see you next week, we'll be on the other side of all the chaos that seems to be heavy this week. But, there's always something new to talk about, so we'll get into that next week, 'cause I am interested to kind of get into more of our vendor consumer relationship conversations for sure.
Yeah, sounds good. And I'll close with saying that for me, when things are good in my personal life, that includes my children, my husband, and family, that energy translates to my everyday work, and it helps it in a positive way. I think when things are not well in the home, whether that's a sick child or relative or fought with your husband, whatever happens on the personal level, definitely affects what happens, in your boutique and with your employees and all of those things, more so than the other way around.
Yeah.
So it's making sure that foundation is solid because things will come, things will happen. It's never ending. Like you said, you're always trying to get to that point. it's never ending. And this
Yeah.
is why we're in this industry, because we get bored easy and we need to have
Something
constant.
new and fresh.
So, absolutely. So, yeah, take care of yourself first. Always reach out to people in the industry, other peers, share what you're
Yeah.
feeling, because God knows you are not alone. It just,
Mm-mm.
I think there's this perception that, what we do for a living is so cool and glamorous and fashion, but, it's another job just like everything. And it has the same trials, tribulations, hardships, and all the things. Um, Keep yourself sane. Don't go too deep into social media. Not everyone's life and boutique is selling out of every garment they receive. So don't buy into that. Um, and yeah, I think it that energy should flow directly into your business.
I agree.
So
Awesome.
thank you guys for listening. I hope we gave some insight into um, what happens in our day, and hopefully it helps you with yours. And we will see you back next week, hopefully.
Yes. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Boutique hustle.